Hello everyone, my name is Lindsay Schmidt and today is July 6, 2025 and I'm making this for the Juvenile Justice and Administration class. So my first fact was that burglary was committed the most by white people with 8,600 offenders, which we can see right here. My second effect was the most popular crime amongst white people was simple assault and larceny theft. So larceny theft, as we can see, is 46,700 and simple assault is 70,940. And then my third fact is we can see a vast decrease in juvenile crime from 1980 to 2020 from all races. My fourth fact was African Americans committed the most crime in the year 1995. And if we go back here, we can look at crime by year. Oops, wrong. And this shows us the year at the crimes got the most violent with our little spikes. And then my fifth fact was overall on average, white juveniles commit more crimes than African American juveniles, which we can see from both of the tables that are shown, that white juveniles commit crimes more than African American juveniles, both the crimes that were just shown. And all of the crimes that were shown here, we can see that the number in the white column is mostly higher. For our second section, we were asked what the problem was with NC and VS for juvenile victimization patterns. I said that the problem with that is that it doesn't start till age 12, and we can look over here, it brings us into a document, it doesn't start until age 12. Juveniles are able to commit crime before age 12, so it kind of makes crime disproportionate when we only start at age 12. Three patterns I did notice from this when looking at it is that crime spiked in the most during the summer. When juveniles were out of school, that's when these numbers tend to get the highest. The second thing that I noticed was that crime began to spike in the late 90s and fall in the early 2000s. So in the 90s and thousands, that's when the crime really started to spike for juveniles. And then the third thing I noticed, that was when comparing 1993 and 2023, the crime wasn't too far off. So if we scroll all the way here to 1993, we can see that it's at 11,315,570. And then if we scroll all the way to 2023, it's at 12,630,993. So it did go up by a million, but it didn't increase or decrease drastically. It's kind of about staying the same throughout the years. And then when we go to our OJJDP, here, the patterns that we can notice here are that juveniles committed the most simple assault. So if you go and find simple assault, that's the most popular crime that we have over here with 70,940 juveniles committing that. And then the second thing that we can notice is that the least popular crime committed by juveniles is prostitution. With only 110 committing it, 50 and 50. And then for our third fact, white juveniles committed double the crimes compared to African American juveniles, and we can see that in most of these crimes committed right here. So in total, 424,300 white juveniles committed crimes and only 269,660 African Americans committed crimes. So we're able to see that. And then if we go up here, we're able to see our child victimization patterns. So child maltreatment. No, not that article. Here we go, youth as victims. You can scroll down to frequently asked questions. Just wait for that to load. So our first fact was that 1/3 of victims of child maltreatment in 2022 were under age 4, and this shows the graph for you. sad, but that was our first fact. Second fact was that since 2012, violent crimes were more common than theft crimes in school, which we've seen a lot of with school shootings, school stabbings, kids bringing knives, guns, weapons to school. So that wasn't super surprising to me. I kind of expected that. And then our third fact wrong one. And then our third was that African American, or my bad, American Indians / Alaskan Native youth had the highest victimization rate. So as we can see right here, we're able to see which children were affected the most by child maltreatment. We can see the most with American Indians / Alaskan Native juveniles, and the least being Asian. So those were my 3 facts.